All right. So the first poem that I'm going to do for you guys is called The World's Greatest Magician. Do you guys know what month this is? Yes, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. And so this poem I wrote, it was inspired by my mother. My mother is first-generation immigrant. We moved from Cuba, which is where we're originally from, to London. And I actually grew up in London for 9 years. And when you're first-generation immigrant, you struggle a lot to pay your bills and you're basically, lower working class until you manage to settle in. And so, regardless of our social status, as a little girl in London, I always had everything that I needed. I always had everything provided for. And so I look at that as magic. And so I wrote this poem called The World's Greatest Magician that's inspired by my mom and all the things that she did to work her magic. Here it is. I want to be the world's greatest magician. I don't want to disappear people and then bring them back. And I don't want to pull cute little bunnies out of a hat, no. I want to be a practical magician, a wizard of transformation, shaman, high priestess, curandera, brujita, santera, an inventor of light in the midst of darkness, making something out of nothing. Like when I didn't have any money for clothes, and I taught myself how to sew, modifying hand-me-downs and making them my own, soon to be known as the Cubanita magician entrepreneur, I could turn recycled Goodwill fabrics into high-fashion original couture with creative alterations that would have the whole cast of Project Runway turn their heads at my creations. This magic, born from necessity, poured itself into my fingertips like second nature, as if I had a dream that I could master a sewing machine. And what do you know? I woke up the next morning and I knew how to sew pouf ache like magic. Because when we don't have enough of what we need, we make do with what we've got. And yes, life gets rough, but we'll never not have plenty. And yes, Stacy, you might have to buy a Toyota instead of a Bentley, but who needs a Bentley when we've got magic? Passed down from our ancestors who whisper to us gently as we listen intently to the knowledge they have brought. And we grow into magicians, learn to manifest with our thoughts. As we develop this skill, all our needs are fulfilled. All obstacles overcome, we make some where there is none with magic. Como cuando hay poco dinero, pero un gran apetito. Cubanos can hook up some spam con arroz y huevo frito, cocinado en un sabroso sofrito para chuparse los deditos, like my grandfather, mi abuelito, a magician of the kitchen, who could use leftovers and make enough to eat to feed our whole block, plus our cousins who live down the street. With just a leg of chicken, skin and bones, a slice of butter, a cup of water and stale bread, a pinch of salt and a drop of oil. In his pots he would stir, fry and boil, and place it in the oven on a sheet of tin foil. Let it cool off for the final phase, and our whole barrio would have chicken croquetas for days that appealed to even the pickiest eater, who'd rub it down faster than a parking meter, because who doesn't want a piece of the magic? Like bread and wine, we digest a piece of the divine and we become magicians, like my grandmother, an herbal engineer. When Western medicine fails to make your pain disappear, she could prescribe natural cures and plants that heal. Like my uncle, who could turn an old 1950 Chevy automobile into the hottest new wheels that fit like 20 people inside. We sit on each other's laps and our thighs overlap like our English and our Spanish. Nobody really knows how we do it, but we manage. And we cruise and we laugh and we always overcome. We make some where there is none with magic. And we are not happy to be poor, but we are happy despite our poverty. We are not excited about our life struggles, but we are excited to be alive because we are magicians, making the impossible possible, the unimaginable tangible, creating wealth where there is nothing, fill voids with hope and communities with resources. That's why I want to be the world's greatest magician, like poets and musicians, and their power to ignite emotion, setting our hearts in motion through a magical explosion of sound, like Billie Holiday's blues, como la música de Celia Cruz y los timbales de Tito, que con su magia nos hacen mover el culito like hip-hop, like beatboxers turning their mouths into instruments, b-boys and b-girls getting down with their heads spinning around like magic, like graffiti artists turning walls into canvases and forgotten alleys into public art galleries. I want to be a magician, like little girls with big imaginations who could travel the world without ever leaving their backyards. Like single moms working 2 jobs and raising healthy, beautiful children. Like the power of chocolate to magically eliminate PMS. A woman, amen, poof, ashe, like magic. Like the power of spooning. Just cuddle up behind someone's rear and it'll make the worst of disputes disappear. I'm telling you, when I'm the world's greatest magician, I will make Israelis spoon Palestinians. I will make Mexicans spoon Salvadorians. And I will make homophobic men spoon their dads and thus create world peace. I am telling you, it's magic. Like when I was little and I wanted a Christmas tree and my mom, who thought spending money on a tree that would be thrown out 2 weeks later, didn't make any sense. And when you're struggling and you're counting every cent, a Christmas tree is a luxury and a wasteful expense. But on December 24th, our living room plant was filled with lights and ornaments. My mother, also a magician, and I want to follow in her legacy, which is why I want to be the world's greatest magician. And with a flicker of my wand, poof, I will turn freeways into parks. Turn every Walmart into homeless shelters. Turn prisons into schools, and I will turn schools into schools. I will turn police stations into community centers. As the world's greatest magician, I would make the governor in California undocumented. I would make Muslims, Christians, and Jews love one another. I would turn Bush into an Iraqi mother. I would eliminate apathy and get rid of fear, and I would make crooked politicians, poof, disappear. I would give people courage to stand up for their truth, and I would put a spell on cops so they stop harassing our youth. I would cleanse our communities from heroin and crack, and I would give black people New Orleans back. I would make fast food lovers into organic food lovers, and instead of hot Cheetos and lime-flavored Doritos, I would make children love veggies and fruits. And I would tax corporations for how much crap they pollute. I would give people wings so they may learn how to fly. And I would make sexy lingerie fall from the sky. And with a twist of my wrist and a spoken command, I would conjure with my hands and put a spell on all the land so that it would profit only the families of those who work it. As the world's greatest magician, there's so much I plan to achieve. I've got so many tricks tucked up my sleeves that will spark the imagination of children and remind grown-ups that it's never too late to believe in magic.